Florence, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Can I share my screen?
You should be able to. So if you hover over and click, there's an arrow button. That's it. Brilliant.
Yeah.
I'll leave you to it. Fab.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you for inviting me to this creative jam. It's the first time I come, and I think it looks absolutely wonderful. Well, wanted to talk today about is something called Sway. So if you use Microsoft for your work or personally, you should have access to that. And why I started to get interested in it, it's just, I was talking to my son, who's 18, first year student Essex, and I was talking to him about, studying online. What do you find difficult? And his reaction was this: so many PowerPoints, so many boring PowerPoints. And I thought, okay, I'm an academic developer. I don't teach students anymore, but what could I do to help my colleagues do something other than PowerPoint? And I know there's Prezi, but personally, Prezi makes me dizzy. I'm not very comfortable with it. So I just thought, okay, let's just try to find something else. And I came across Sway. So for those of you who don't know what it is, it's what I would say it's a digital equivalent of an illustrated textbook. You can put text, you can put images, you can embed videos, you can also embed other Office 365 documents, so PowerPoint, Forms, Word, Excel. You can also embed audio. So rather than telling you what it is, it's best if I show you what it is. So I'll close this and share a Sway so that you see what it looks like when it's live. So it's something I'm working on for my colleagues at UEA who need help about recording lectures. And in the back of my mind, I've got my son saying, how can I encourage colleagues to engage their students when they won't be able to see them, particularly in lectures. I don't know about you, but UE has decided there wouldn't be big lectures. So there will be a lot of recorded lectures, there will be a lot of webinars. So what can we do to, as academic developers, to help colleagues? So I just came up with what I would call a small toolkit. So what I like about Sway is that, first of all, you can have a contents list. So I've put some headings there, and you can click on any of them. You can navigate sequentially. But it's a tool that that works well when you have a lot of images, good images. You can, as I said, embed videos, so I won't play that. But so what I should do here on reflection is perhaps give readers, watchers some idea of how long the videos are, but it's work in progress. And yes, I put some texts, I give more video advice, and you can scroll. And I just think it creates something that is a little bit more engaging than a PowerPoint. You can put more text, but reasonably so, without at the same time overwhelming people. And okay, I'll just show you better presentation. There's different layouts you can use. You're quite constrained, but at the same time, I think that's quite a strength. You don't get too lost. And you can embed diagrams. So I think I'll just stop here and stop sharing that, because the rest is going to be more of the same. So I just wonder what your reactions are to this. Do you think it's a good tool to engage students? And if some of you are academic developers, is it a good tool to engage colleagues?
Any thoughts?
Hi, Florence. This is Hala speaking. Can I ask you a question? Do we even need a presentation tool? Because we've actually seen, I mean, I understand there are certain manuals and information that we have to kind of like create, but kind of like now that we've got the freedom to do, kind of like something a lot more creative, and based on what your son had said, do we actually need you know, Sway or PowerPoint or Prezi, or having, you know, kind of, or just having a conversation or a recording, or, you know, just an image, you know, kind of like might be enough. So I'm just trying to move away from any tools that sometimes I think might have all been a bit guilty of hiding behind.
That's a very good point. I think we have to be mindful that students could have wall-to-wall Teams meeting or webinars, and that's very tiring. I mean, certainly talking to me and, you know, my son walking around the house said, "You're always online, you're always online." And, you know, for the students having to have lots and lots of online events, I think perhaps what's behind there for me is trying to encourage students to do some flip learning. So yes, you could say just read a PowerPoint, read a Word document, read a book chapter. So it's more a case of sort of bringing the changes and bringing something that's perhaps more multimodal in terms of communication. So I'm not saying it's the answer to everything. Certainly there is a place for face-to-face, for doing, you know, let me share that. Yes, colleagues from a French university, and I thought that was good fun what they were doing. So if I can find that,
while you find that, Florence, one of the things that we've done is create standardized, if you like, module information packs using Sway. So across a whole program, we've converted what was a Word document into a Sway with video welcomes from the head of school, little video overviews and hyperlinks out. So yeah. I think that's worked really well for us in terms of using Sway to provide that information in a more accessible way.
Yeah, I think that's what I like, that you can create really formal things with articulate. You can create more, you can be very creative with PowerPoint. And there are interesting things to do sort of face to face. I mean, now that I've created that, it's called the shared this. Can you see the little people on the behaving? So the idea is that if you use that in a webinar, the student will circle or put a cross next to the little people to express their emotions. And so it can go wrong, but it can go well. So you just see where people are at. So that was just a silly thing. And I like that sort of playful sort of dimension, so very simple things. So to go back to the colleague saying, do we have to provide text? I'll stop sharing that. No, we don't have. I think it's just ringing the changes, and I was just offering that as an alternative. And I think even with colleagues as well, to create something that the feedback that I've had seem to suggest people like, you know, just looking at something different really, because we still have to read a lot of things. We're going to be online a lot, and we're going to get tired, and students are going to get tired. So just
absolutely
find an alternative.
Yeah, flexing that approach I think will be really helpful, so that they receive things in different formats, so it's not the same every time. There's some really interesting comments there around co-creation and getting and letting the students take control using Sway, and I think that's a perfect example.
Yeah, absolutely. Students, I mean, assuming students have access to the Microsoft tools, yeah, you know, could that be a format for assessment? Fortunately, it's not collaborative itself, but you can get a team of people working together to produce one. That's a drawback, that one person is in charge. But you know, you can still contribute images and text together.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Florence. Great example.